bounty hunters, no Raylos, no Ray Nobodies, no Fandom menacers, no black pills. We are here for the love of Star Wars, and I think that's pretty good. Anyway, want to talk a little bit about the latest thing coming out. I think it was in Deadline. I'm gonna turn on the light. Deadline saying that that third installment for Insidious beat Indiana Jones this weekend, and that's pretty bad. It's a random horror movie, should not be beating Indiana Jones for any reason whatsoever, yet here we are. And that goes right into my discussion about Kathleen Kennedy. Yesterday, we saw a video where, or we saw an article show up on Yahoo where they answered the questions, has Kathleen Kennedy been fired? And they said not yet. But when you see something like that show up into normie news, you gotta start paying attention, because if they're paying attention, then it's getting serious. Okay, so what is going on here? She's hiding. She's in the UK. Cameron, in his Patreon, basically said if her lawyers are smart, they'd start drawing up resignation papers to try to get her some sort of settlement so she leaves. This is embarrassing. 4th of July, Indiana Jones on the Dial of Destiny got beat by an independent movie that Fox had, that they put on the that Disney, when they bought Fox, put on the shelf. They got Angel Studios got it, crowdfunded, and beat one of the greatest franchises of all time. Now, I'm not going to say it's an actor's fault. This is, I'm going to make a point to tell you who did this. Harrison Ford did a lovely video thanking the fans and talking about what it meant for him to play Indiana Jones. And Jeremy Griggs of Geeks and Wankers went ballistic on him and said something really stupid on Twitter. Why? For attention, obviously. My attitude is if you got to do that to get attention, and you hate people so much, or you're such a greedy prick, then probably, hey Dave, you should probably maybe get a job, okay? Maybe get your GRD and go to college, okay? Like the rest of us have. What a low class, typical inbred hillbilly thing to do. I'm like, all I can say is this. My parents weren't related, okay? That's all I'm gonna say. Anyway, that was a really sad thing though. And it's insulting. And of course, his goon squad probably love it. But, they're all rubes too, all right? And my advice is, if you want to hang out with people who are reasonable, rational adults, Doomcock, me, Cameron, maybe Adam Post, but really there aren't very many left. It's really sad too. This is the state of the fandom. When you've got people who can barely read, saying poorly thought out, shitty things to a beloved actor, thanking the fans. And the excuse was, it was woke. No, it wasn't. I saw it. So I can speak with authority. I know what woke is and it wasn't. Okay. I don't care if Phoebe Waller-Bridge says something anti-capitalism. It's supposed to be 1969, dumbass. Wait, you didn't go to high school. How would you fucking know what was going on then? Okay? There you go. So let's go back. So Insidious beat Indy 5. Indy 5. And I would say that I don't really think that Bob Iger has much to worry about it. He's got enough cause right now. Right now, without shoving legal shit in her face to fire Kennedy. Okay. If I were her lawyers, if I were her, I call my lawyer up and say, Frank and I have talked and I'm resigning. I want you to get me some sort of decent settlement. Okay. Because this is what's going to happen. There are one of three things. Two, I think, one of two may happen. Now, the first one I really want to see happen. She gets an email from Carrie Beck on her private email that says, it's been announced in the trades they fired you. And she looks down on the email, she sees one from Iger that says, Kathy, your contract is invalidated. You're done. All right. So it's everywhere. It's all over the public. All right. That would be the perfect shitty end to her reign. Okay. Personally, I would love to see it. The next one is the auditors find enough stuff to shove in her face, and she leaves with a whimper and takes all the flying monkeys with her. Okay. She takes all the flying monkeys with her. The third one, which it could happen, is, and this is one I thought up while I was talking on my upload earlier today, is she could get back and all of her flying monkeys are laid off. And she has no support staff. I don't know about you, but given the fact that she is beyond unreasonable as a human being, that she could not understand that she was not there to argue with Bob Iger, which is what she was trying to do at that meeting on this last Monday, that I think her being embarrassed in public and not knowing until it got public would be the best thing for her. Okay, look, there's a scene in The Offer where Peter Bart walks up to Robert Evans, who doesn't know anything is going on, and shows him Variety, and the cover says, Evans out the door at Paramount. He hadn't heard a word. Okay. If that happened to Kennedy, and it was definite she was gone, I couldn't stop laughing. I'd die laughing, and it would be worth it. I'd be laying there with a big grin on my face for the rest of my life, for all of eternity. And it could happen. I could see, and look, Bob Iger is just nasty mean enough to do something like that. Okay? But who knows how this is going to end? There are three scenarios. There are probably scenarios that I haven't even thought of. But I am going to say this. There's something going on at Lucasfilm, and it's not just the auditors looking through her stuff. There's already someone, I believe, getting... Oh, thank you, Dave. There's already somebody who's basically, for all intents and purposes, has her job. All right, and I'm not just saying that. Anyway, what else is going on? Hey, Cross. Yeah, and you know what? Like I said, Mr. Iger, if you see this, no offense. He's an asshole, but he's our asshole. And I would be like, now, about the 538 blog, I want to explain something to you guys. If you're not really informed or knowledgeable about what the Frankfurt School is and who Saul Alinsky is. Saul Alinsky wrote a book called Rules for Radicals. Frankfurt School, we're called cultural socio sociologists and basically looked at the culture and how they would train, because they were all a bunch of socialist pigs, how they would train a generation to destroy capitalism. They would go and basically indoctrinate kids. This is exactly what's going on. Andrew Breitbart talked about it in his book. Andrew Breitbart talked about it at length in interviews. And these people came from Frankfurt, Germany, and got enmeshed in our academia. I mean, look, back in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, it was a great boon to have someone of letters show up in the United States to teach. Okay, these people weren't teachers; they were Red Guard, as you will. Saul Alinsky's book Rules for Radicals basically taught Barack Obama how to organize communities. You isolate your enemy, you accuse them of doing everything you're doing, etc., etc. Now, we've seen that happen with Donald Trump. We've seen it happen with Trump's followers and Republicans in general. And back in 2012, the Democrats really got good at it. AstroTurfing, putting fake supporters up, trying to dispirit and discourage support, putting up false information in chat rooms, because we had Twitter, but and Facebook, but in places where people would gather, these people would show up, and it's called astroturfing. And yes, I have accused of a certain YouTuber of astroturfing, because despite him hating quote unquote Kennedy, the rainbow is 100%, million percent, 1,000 billion, gajillion, fulfillion happening. What? No, it's not. Okay, shut up. Acolyte's real. Her. How much money did they spend on it? We were told $250 million. Where's the link? Well, we were told that. That's hearsay. That's not admissible in court. Okay? This is admissible in court. Karen McCarthy's proof that she had a tentative agreement, and then proof that they offered her $5,000 to go away. Any way you put it, if you're sitting on a jury and you hear they only offered her $5,000 and they're trying to mislead people into saying that it was a fully funded TV show, then why didn't they give her a couple $1,000,000, which is what she lost by not taking sugar, or in them not going through with their promise. But we all know why, because the show never existed beyond a sizzle reel. Okay, that's it. Now, let's go back to the 538 blog. When you read it, it's disjointed. They jump from point to point to point, and it's kind of nonsensical. The guy that wrote it, Cooper, really doesn't know what he's talking about. He's a nihilist, and the fact of the matter is Pablo Hidalgo retweeted it and said, "This is great, I look forward to more." Why would he do that if he works for Lucasfilm? Why? I know he still does. We have ways of finding out things. No, they didn't. They didn't at all, Dave. And it's really interesting to me looking at some of the players involved that are named, that and you've probably seen the documents, that they knew better than to do that. All right, they knew better than to do that. But let's go back. So Pablo Hidalgo still works tentatively, I'm going to say now, at Lucasfilm, and he's on Twitter retweeting this terrible, poorly written, angry, bullshit dumpster fire of an entry into a blog full of nihilistic shit by a guy who's got pronouns in his name. So already I discount him as a human being. All right, you got pronouns in your name. You need to seek Dr. Fraser Crane or Niles Crane and have them give you enough medicine so you can get through life without. I got a mosquito bite on the back of my knee. Little fucker really got me good too, and it absolutely is driving me nuts. But yeah, see, I don't respect that shit. It's like, I'm sorry, I don't deal with people like you. Run along, Festus. When you hear this stuff, hey Mike, and when you read the blog, because you can find it. It's called the 1138 blog, and there are two other people that wrote it. I really am trying to figure out if Pablo's got a new thing to do where he's trying to tear down Star Wars. Okay. Kennedy knows no one likes the sequel trilogy. She knows no one's buying the High Republic books. My mother-in-law's first novel that she published herself outsold Claudia Gray, for Christ's sakes. No one wants to read this shit. Okay. What is it? What was Gray's first novel? It sold like 30,000 copies. You know, if you're an independent author and you're just writing stuff on your own for a hobby, that's not a bad day. That's not a bad gig. You're making some money. But that is horrible for someone like Gray, and it is horrible for Star Wars, and it's horrible for Disney. Okay? So I kind of look at it and go, but it's nihilistic, all right? When you look at the supposed plot line of the Acolyte, it's nihilistic. It's basically taking Darth Krea's story and giving it to a young Jedi Padawan. She wants to kill the Force. All right, it's like, first off, it wouldn't make the story doesn't make any sense because the Sith disappeared. All right, the Jedi thought wrongly that the Sith had gone away, and they hadn't. Okay, so the story, just by being what it is bullshit. Second of all, it's basically plagiarizing Lord 3. I'm glad you're being a dickhead, and if you were a fan of any kind, you go see it. First off, your ticket's not going to make a difference. Second of all, I saw it, so I can speak with authority on this. I liked it, okay? I don't want to hear about it. No black pills, okay? I've said that a million times. I expect people to follow that rule, all right? No black pills. I don't want to fucking hear about it, all right? You know, I've had it with the fandom. I have. You're not a victim. You haven't been personally hurt by this, all right? You haven't, all right? When I walked out of TLJ, I was bawling. Tears of rage. You don't see me going, I'm not going to do that. You don't know to. I want to see Disney burn. You know how fucking childish that is? Do you? Quit it. You're not a victim. Fight back. Stop listening to black pills. Start listening to pragmatists. Start looking at the business side. Okay? They're going to lose well over $1 billion when Indy 5 fails. Okay? And it is. Just like I said that today, that stupid horror movie is beating it. And I'm sad for Harrison Ford. He deserved better, despite what Jeremy Griggs puked out all over Twitter. I just look. I don't like people that have no class. I don't like people who are unreasonable. I don't like people who jump from freak out to get other people to join them. I don't. Hey, David, I just don't. And I don't tolerate black pills, the black pill blobs, and I don't tolerate sequel trilogy shills. Okay? When I say no Raylos, I fucking mean it. If you sit here, come here and sing the praises of Adam Driver, I'll probably throw a punch. Okay? Hey, Senator Dave. So, you know, we're yeah, I agree completely. I absolutely parabellum. Because we're at the light at the end of the tunnel. All right. Indy 5 was the last straw. Okay. Iger wants to stay, and I really don't blame him. Again, this is not about Bob Iger, so please keep Disney proper out of your mouth when you're here. This is about Kathleen Kennedy and Lucasfilm and breaking them apart. Well, Jonathan, they can come here too and have a red pill. All right. Which is what we do here. You know, there's going to be a lot of hell to go through before we get. I never did either. But this is about a guy looking at the mistakes he made. I should have bought Fox. I should have fired Kennedy in 2018. I should have reined in DEI when I should never have done that. Everybody in Hollywood is saying that now. The fact that Kathleen Kennedy threw diversity and inclusion under the bus and blamed Iger for it, putting it in there, is beyond my comprehension, because guess what? She hired them. She allowed Ryan Johnson to put Vice Admiral Gender Studies in there. She's the one who thought Canto Bite was great. She's the one who said, drunk deadbeat dad Han Solo. She's the one who basically chose to support homeless, bitter old Luke Skywalker, suicidal Luke Skywalker. She's the one who decided failed mother, crusty Leia. Not, all she had to do is said, this is bad. We need a new script. JJ, fix Han and Leia. Do it now. Okay? Well, I don't give a shit. You're gonna do, no, this is not me. JJ, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Fix it. Or I'll find another kid. I'll find somebody else. Look, she let it happen. She didn't stand up to Iger and said, we need to do George's scripts. Why aren't we doing that? They were friends. He gave her a chance. All right? I don't understand her attitude and her husband's attitude. Why would he let her do that? She's nihilistic. She's oh yeah, well that was Robert Rodriguez, I think. I'm not even going to get into that. But she, and now we've got, no, she didn't protect the integrity of the brand. And that's not necessarily Bob Iger's job. Bob Iger should basically have said, I don't know enough about Star Wars, Kathy, thank you. Okay, we're going to do it your way. Yeah, she did know the truth. And her being up there with him, while basically Steven Spielberg erased both her and her sniveling cuck of a husband. Okay, and guess what? Nobody in the Fandom Menace understands what really happened there. The moment I saw it, I said, oh my God, he canceled her. He canceled both of them. All right, and that's exactly what it was. Talk a lot about how powerful and mighty Kathy is. She's not Steven Spielberg, all right? And she's not. And she's not Harrison Ford. I've always thought this. Harrison, after he left Star Wars, first off, he vocalized regrets on the set of The Force Awakens that he shouldn't have left. And I think after TLJ came out, he was so like with what they did to Mark and Carrie. And I really think the reason why he came back to even do that one little cameo scene, which I think was frankly insulting, made me go, he realized had he been on the set of TLJ, he could have made them change it. All right? Because he even said, you've got to give the fans what they want. Okay? And he said that, and it wasn't, he was talking about, hey, Mazers, I saw your messages, I'll check it out. Yeah, I know you saw what I said to Greg's. I can't believe he would do that. What a low-class piece of garbage. No, we're not, Maze is right, we weren't asking for a lot. But when you're dealing with nihilists like Ryan Johnson and Pablo Hidalgo, and now the writers for that 1138 blog, you're going to have nihilists, because that's what they are. Just a second. Talk among yourselves. Oh, Kojak, everybody can hear your toenails clicking. I've got a wolf right here, a big black wolf. Yeah, and she enabled them. She encouraged it, because again, what I see is, look, socialism is based on resentment. And it's based on envy. It's based on, I'm jealous of that guy because he actually did better than me and is more successful. And when you God, back a long time ago, Mazers will remember all the shitty things that Pablo would say about billionaires. And this was after he got chased off of Twitter by, I think, Disney. All right, back in 2018. The guy works for Lucasfilm. He should be happy. And instead, he attacks the fans. Yeah, I think you're right about that too, Mazers. And really, socialism enables that personal resentment. All right. Because really, when you start peeling back the onion, that's what it's about. Like, you've got people like in my family who bitch about rich people. And they have more money than I do. And it's like, really? Really? You're kind of like, okay. But it fosters a resentment, a personal resentment, because anybody who has more is someone to hate. And it's like, why? Like, I think part of the issue with Greg's attacking Harrison Ford is he is personally resentful of something Ford did to him. Socialism and communism and fascism. Well, fascism is a socialism. I mean, if you look at NSDAP, which is what the Nazi Party is called in German, Nationalsozialistische Deutsche Arbeiterspartei, National Socialist German Workers' Party. Okay, does that sound not left-wing to you? They are socialists. Okay, It's a socialism that couldn't get along with the other kind of socialism because it's basically fascism, which allows for private property, which allows for the wealthy, and the wealthy, you know, contribute. They make deals with governments. Like there's a book called The Arms of Krupp, which is about the Krupp family getting in bed with Hitler. Messerschmitt, BMW, Volkswagen was actually started as a Nazi company. So, you know, Siemens, which is a German conglomerate now, but they, all right, and Lufthansa. Look, they didn't have Lufthansa till Hitler showed up, and Goering, I think, was either one of the owners or was a contributor. It's like, you know, but that's how all that stuff started. Private, these extremely wealthy people got together. Yeah, Mike, and that's a good attitude to have. But so when I look at the people, you know, saying shitty things about billionaires, you know, and cheering that, you know, Trump has got, you know, these is being persecuted by the federal government, you know, like in Pablo, you know, his family with him as a baby escaped from Chile back to Canada because Pinochet probably wanted to take Daddy on a helicopter tour. And, you know, now he's cheering political opponents getting jailed. I mean, that's kind of fascist. All right, isn't it? I mean, can anybody explain that to me? Why someone's family who ran away so they wouldn't either get murdered or thrown in prison would be cheering about a political opponent in their new country being persecuted with the threat of prison? I mean, does that make any sense? It's not only ironic, it's hypocritical on steroids. Okay, and I don't tolerate it. But it's also, when you look at the 1138 blog, is extremely nihilistic. It's childish. And I honestly think that Pablo knows that his time is short. He very definitely still is working at Lucasfilm. I can't tell you how I know. I just know. And I think a lot of those people know. Because the auditors are in Marin County. They're up at the Presidio. They're not in Burbank. They're up there. Okay? At Lucasfilm headquarters, where incidentally a lot of the slimy pieces of worm-ridden filth live and work. Okay? So Pablo retweeting that blog just absolutely makes perfect sense. Look at what the guy supported. I do believe he was the one that came up with Canto Bight. All right, I do. Look at what the guy has supported, and then honestly, could you actually take him seriously as a Star Wars fan, as someone you would hire to help getting stories out there? I think the answer is no. Okay, there's a reason why George didn't hire him, because he knew Pablo was full of shit. All right, it's just, in my opinion, almost heartbreaking to see where we've gotten, and the fact that that Iger had to sacrifice Indiana Jones to get rid of Kennedy. All right. Yeah, and Mazeros is right. She did try to erase Indy. She did try to get the duck face stick figure with no soul, the hat and the whip. All right, and it wasn't going to work. And what's interesting is, I think Harrison Ford was as much opposed to it in private. We'll never hear what he said. We'll never hear it. But he was as much opposed in private, you know. I think he did. Anyway, DOJ is trying to drag this out so Trump can't run for president because a felon can't run for president. Okay. And I think that when you look at what's going on and the evidence that's coming out in the media, that they're probably going to throw the case out. But I don't know. I mean, I'm that's hopeful thinking. But if not Trump, I'm voting Bobby Kennedy Jr. The reason why is he's not anti-gun. You can actually have a conversation with him and not want to hit him in the head. He's an old school Democrat. All right. I can get along with that. I cannot get along with fucking Gavin Newsom and that demented loser in the White House right now, whose son is basically a blizzard of cocaine. All right. Yes, the coke found in the White House belonged to Hunter. All right. I mean, why wouldn't you think it did? I mean, you know, I don't have any direct evidence, but the circumstantial evidence sure makes sense. I mean, it's found in a place no one else can go except the first family and the people that work there. And, you know, oh yeah, I totally agree, Maze. Anyway, so I did not put, I think he'll run as an independent if he does para. And if he does, he's gonna siphon off a lot of votes. He is. And he knows they're not gonna let him just have the nomination. That's why they're not gonna let Biden debate. Bobby Kennedy will destroy Biden. Donald Trump will destroy Biden. Okay. Dare I say, Ron, I kissed the establishment's ass, DeSantis would destroy Biden. Of course, I'd write in Mickey Mouse if that was Biden or DeSantis. And I used to like DeSantis, but I don't like Republican Party supporters calling Trump supporters who are Republicans disgusting names that only Democrats were doing. Okay. Yeah, and what I hate about this is DeSantis is a good guy. I don't like his supporters. I don't like being called names. I don't like this irrational hatred of Donald Trump. It's just, 2 years ago I had a lady, aptly named Karen, who lives in California, owns racehorses, just explain that, well, I'm a conservative. And I looked at her and said, well, I'm an American. Okay, fuck your party. Fuck the uniparty. There you go. Anyway, back to what I was talking about. So, we've got a lot of stuff to look forward to, I think. I think this next week will be interesting. Yesterday, we had a pretty good, not exactly detailed thing with Sparrow. Mike the Mexican Iron Man showed up here, said his friend basically said Disney is on fire. There is shit going down. And a week ago, I was told some other things I can't talk about that made me go like this. All right. So Kennedy running away to the UK and acting like she's on vacation is just charming. All right, because any person who knows how to do Outlook knows that when somebody in Kennedy's position leaves their office, they always put a reply, an automatic reply, on vacation. I will be back on this date. Please refer any issues you have to Lin-Wen Brennan, Kathleen Kennedy, president of Lucasfilm. And the email's coming back with no reply, nothing, just bouncing back. All right. And it's very interesting to me. That, Mazros, that's exactly what could happen. We wake up, it's about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, which would be 10 o'clock California time, and you see Kathleen Kennedy out at Lucasfilm, as per Bob Iger, okay, or something like that. And she doesn't know about it till she gets an email or phone call from one of her stooges. Okay? And she gets an email from Iger saying, you're out. You come back here, get your shit and go. It's going to be in boxes, in storage, waiting for you to go. Grab it and go. And that's, look, that would be poetic justice. Okay? Well, the interim president, I think, will be president of Lucasfilm. Yeah, or they could just announce, blah, 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 the maker of blah, 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 is now the head of Lucasfilm. And Dave Filoni is the director of, the vice president of creative program, whatever they call it. You know, it would absolutely be hysterical, because then you'd know the flying monkeys are gone too. You wouldn't even have to see them crying on the way out the door. I mean, it would be, yeah, it would be great. But anyway, I wanted to talk a little bit about that, and about the fact that there's no way Kennedy can come back from Indiana Jones 5. My thing is, she's going to attempt to play rope-a-dope, all right, and drag her feet as long as possible, because she thinks she can outlast Iger, and she can't. You know, I'm sure she's tried to get the board on her side, which isn't going to help, because all they have to do is look back on her miserable record and go, and the lawsuit, which I think I am the only channel that talks about Karen McCarthy. The Black Pill Blobs won't, but I know why. I know why. Well, for what? Parabellum. Indy 5? I'm not sure. I know it's going to be about... It'll be more than probably about 250 million. Probably as much or a little more than Solo lost. I mean, they talk about, is it John Carter or what, that movie that lost so much money, the biggest bomb in history? It could probably surpass that. But see, Disney will never be honest about how much Solo lost. Okay? It won't. They say 70 billion or 70. They say 70 million, and it's like, no, it's 250 million. The opening budget for production for Solo was $250 million. It got 80% done. Kennedy was like, what the hell? Showed up, fires Lord and Miller, brings in Ron Howard, who reshot 80% of it. That budget went up to at least over 400 million, if not more. and it only reached about 350 million worldwide box office. And when you start looking at theater take, fees, other things, it probably made maybe $80 million. I don't know. But it didn't make hardly anything. No, I think Lucasfilm will be just fine, Turbo. Because again, like I said, I know what's going on. I can't say it, or I would out contacts. And it is unbelievably hopeful. Okay, it's hopeful. Yeah, well, you know, all right, I'll give you a little bit of irony and then I gotta go. The movie Sound of Freedom. Jim Caviezel, Amir Sorvino, whom I despise. Her dad was great. I loved him. But I know way too much personal stuff, so I'm not going to talk about it. Beat Indy 5 on July 4th. That movie was a Fox movie, and Disney shelved it. Angel Studios got it back and put it out there as an independent film, and they beat Indy 5. How's that for irony? All right. How do you, and you know, what's funny is that happened the day after Kennedy had that face-to-face with Iger. And Dana Walden, Alan Bergman, and the accountants, the lawyers, la la la, la 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 la. Okay. So that was like that. All right. God does not want her to succeed. That's all I'm going to say. Anyway, I got to go. I'm losing my voice. I got to go to church. And I'm going to go to Hallmark and check out something that they have there. It's a keepsake ornament. And it's Leia showing her helmet to Wicket. And I want it. All right. All right. Okay, guys. Anyway, I gotta go. Again, no black pills. None. None. No sequel trilogy shills. And go read that 530 or 1138 blog. I'm not gonna have anybody put a link to it. It's called 538 or 1138. Just look for it, and it's all right. That's me. Anyway, see you guys around the galaxy. Behave and be safe.